Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov gang. Our gang members this evening: Rob Nelson, former Fox News talk show host; Nonie Darwish, the author of the new book, The Devil We Don't Know, The Dark Side of the Revolutions in the Middle East; and Tommi Trudeau, producer of music, videos, and films.
Just liberal, please.
Just liberal, please. And should I introduce... And Mr. Snugglebun.
Would you stop being such a racist toward Mr. Snugglebun?
Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Jamie. So formal.
The topic this evening, a day in the life of a Chinese dissident for this segment. Chen Guangcheng, under house arrest in China, suffering a lot of abuse. His wife was also being beaten, as we know. He's suffered tremendous persecution. He's blind. He's somehow escaped. He was in the hands of the American embassy for a while. Then they let him go back into the hospital. Now he's back in the hands of the Chinese authorities. Romney called it a day of shame, in terms of that it appears that at this point, the Obama administration has, in one way or another, betrayed him or abandoned him. Let's start with you, Tommi. How do you see this as an expert to some degree on China, as you discussed last week?
Number one, President Obama did not betray the man. He stated clearly that he wants to stay in China. And also, this is just crazy because we don't know the full story going on here, and we cannot vilify a great country like China over this because well, take for instance the United States, okay? I agree 100% with keeping a bunch of religious nutcase terrorists locked up in Guantanamo. I agree with that because I don't like religious nutcases, okay? Well, we get vilified for that every day.
Can we talk about China, please?
Yeah, we get vilified over Guantanamo.
Yeah. We're not, this isn't about Guantanamo.
We cannot vilify China over this. We don't know the whole story. My heart is with the man. My heart is with him. I don't want him to be persecuted, but we can't vilify 1 billion people in China, a great country like China. We don't know the whole story. Just like...
Okay, you made your point.
Just like the people who...
Just one second. You made your point. All because that there is a sin somewhere else, or allegedly that somebody else has committed something.
Well,
you're implying that nothing can ever be said. Let me ask you something.
What?
Chen Guangcheng, part of the things that he was protesting in his country is the forced sterilization of women and forced abortion, especially of female fetuses. What do you think about a woman that is forcibly sterilized? And what do you think women that are forced to have an abortion? What do you think about the humanity of that? Do we have an obligation to denounce something like that?
It is a much bigger problem.
Why can't you just answer a question?
We have an obligation.
You're an equivocator.
We have an obligation to denounce the mass starvation that will happen throughout the world if we do not control population. And you know what? A lot of people aren't smart enough to control their own population. They have to be controlled.
Excuse me. Instead of thinking about higher ideals, you are a let me finish. You are a shameless individual because you don't care about individuals. And if you read the agonizing testimonies and accounts of women who have been forcibly sterilized and were forced to have abortions in China, if you're for women's rights, you would be standing up for the female fetuses that are butchered just because they're female fetuses.
It is terrible, but what about the starvation? What about worldwide starvation? Is it better to let a billion people starve?
Go ahead.
I think during the Obama administration we've been compromising a lot with tyrannical regimes. And unfortunately, when it comes to China, it's not just we're compromising with tyrannical regimes, but what's worse is we owe them so much money. We have put ourselves in such a disadvantage economically with China that if we go into a confrontation with them over this blind dissident, probably we're putting ourselves in a weak position towards
because
China.
of the weak American economy, you're saying,
yes,
and
but that's why
we have enslaved ourselves.
We've enslaved ourselves, and unfortunately, when it comes to Iran, when it comes to the Muslim Brotherhood, when it comes to all the tyrannical regimes, even Syria, we're just backing off, and we're no longer acting like America internationally.
Like Ronald Reagan would.
Yes.
But Nonie, you're saying the Obama administration, number one, is we're afraid because we're economically dependent on in many respects.
Not just afraid.
But the Obama administration has betrayed freedom fighters under the Islamic curtain and also under the communist curtain.
The Obama administration does not have the stomach to stand up to any tyrannical regime.
Okay, let's.
Wow! I just can't wait to jump in on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, well, first of all, I don't disagree with what Nonie said at all. Where I take this is, this goes so much beyond partisan politics in the Obama administration. The United States government, both parties, previous administrations that were Republican, both parties, all of Congress, used to actually have a big deal, especially with China, but with many countries, about using human rights as a vehicle to say, if you're not following human rights stuff, we're going to hold it against you in trade talks and whatever. We have completely, as a nation, caved in to the notion that because we need China or any other, but let's just stick with China, because we're dependent on them, because they own so much of our debt, we have to just look the other way. And now, this is what happens. To me, Chen,
a good development or a bad development?
That we've let that happen?
Yes.
It's horrible. Okay. It's horrible because what we've done
Before you move forward, why have we become so economically dependent on China?
Because we couldn't, well, that goes to the fact that we couldn't live within our means, and we looked for the cheapest ways to produce things, and we kept spending trillions beyond we have.
Do you blame the liberal left for that?
I blame both parties.
Wait, 1 second.
I blame both parties. It's gone on. The deficit skyrocketed after Clinton, and it's skyrocketing with Obama.
Okay, keep going.
Now,
Go ahead.
The point is that we've let this happen, and now you have a situation where human rights activists, and who knows what really happened, but clearly at some level, they wanted him out of there because if he was hiding in that embassy, the Chinese war officials,
he was blind? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Were going to be furious. At the high-level talks, Hillary Clinton's there, so they wanted this problem cleaned up.
You mean the Chinese wanted it?
And so did the U.S. to get it out of the way.
So the Chinese kind of wanted him gone, and somehow
they didn't want him holed up in the embassy.
Wait. No, how did he get out?
I'm not sure how he got out. What I'm saying is the U.S. government and the Chinese government both had a political interest in making sure this problem got swept under the table.
They want to do
that's the problem. The U.S. government is going to sooner or later have to learn, if this is just a one-person touchstone point, to say, we will not look the other way on human rights issues anymore with China, and they're terrified to do it because they're afraid China will flip them off and be like, you want us just to sink your economy? But there's a hole we dug ourselves in, and I don't know if Mitt Romney would have any more courage to stand up to them.
So you're
than
saying
Obama.
it's a fear economically, right?
Yeah,
okay. Okay, 1 second, Tommy. Okay, go ahead.
It boils down to this. Number one, my heart is with this man. We don't know the whole story, but you know what this boils down to is you can tell China how superior our system is to them right after you pay back the $1.16 trillion we borrowed from them. What in the world? How is our system so superior if we have to? That's like saying, I'm so much better than you. Can you loan me $1 million? Because I'm dead broke here. Can you loan me another $1 million? I'm dead broke, but I'm so superior to you. Can you get me another $1 million there? Thank you.
Okay,
by the way, we're so
Tommy,
superior.
1 second. Tommy, you made your point. Can I say a couple sentences without you interrupting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you implying that because somebody might be in debt to somebody else, that one cannot make a moral judgment on a crime?
No, we need to know the whole story. Of course human rights should not be violated, but also we get vilified all the time.
Tommy, can I say one thing?
We get vilified over Ron Tommy.
China has the most horrific human rights record, and I'm not going to, the population control thing, I'll say something about it. It's probably not popular. I'm not for the forced abortions, and especially because they're doing it to get a male child, but I get China's need to have a one-child policy to prevent overpopulation, and I don't have a problem with trying to make that work. But that's
how do you make it work without abuse?
Wait, before you go, that's the least of it. The Chinese government has historically repressed in the most brutal ways anyone who stood in the way of whatever they wanted to do, and Rob, that has gone.
1 second, Rob. Mao is the greatest mass murderer of the 20th century. He killed 70 million of his own people. Yes. This is documented. Yes. Are you going to equivocate on that as well? What the communist regime did to 70 million Chinese people?
Murder is wrong. Murder is wrong.
You're equivocating
However,
again.
No, I am not.
You're equivocating again.
I am not.
Was Mao a butcher?
Yes, but look at the big picture.
Why is there always a but?
Look at the big picture.
Well, about this, it's just an indication that the Obama administration is no longer with the oppressed, he's with the oppressor. he's this way in Egypt with the Muslim Brotherhood, not with the students who started the revolution. He didn't want to interfere in Iran and let the students, you know, he's not standing with the oppressed. He's standing with the
Yes,
oppressed.
absolutely.
And for instance, there are millions of Christians in Egypt who are now being persecuted.
And he's not doing one.
Why isn't he giving them visas?
There's a genocide of Christians in Egypt.
He is giving visas to the Islamists and not to the oppressed Christians.
Okay.
So it's not just this poor Chinese man.
Yeah. Oh, the Obama administration's on the side of our enemies. But one second, before we go to Rob, let me ask you something. Every time that there's a criticism of Obama on this show, I see you shaking your head. And can you make one criticism of Obama, or because in your community, among your friends, are you even allowed to criticize?
Okay, let's speak about my community and what happened this week, okay? Let me tell you something which needed to happen, and maybe it needs to happen to you too, okay? Is this week, I was awakened in the night and taken by my friends. And they gave me an attitude. They gave me an attitude adjustment, which is exactly what needed to happen to me. You remember when I first came on this show, I said, "Oh, I stray more towards the middle than the left." Well, I needed an attitude adjustment, and some of you need to be sent.
What happened? Did you get high? Did they get you high again?
That's
in the end.
Come on.
In the end,
I
had my attitude adjusted. I had my attitude adjusted, and we all got stoned as brothers and comrades, and it was good.
You know what?
Exactly.
This is the problem. Look, this is the partisan. Look, this is the partisan divide I keep talking about. And you know, Nonie, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but you always come at it from the partisan point of view, and you're coming at it from the other.
She comes in from the justice point of view, not a partisan point of view. No, from the justice point of view.
Justice point of view would acknowledge that both parties, many administrations, all of Congress has consistently in the last 15 years looked the other way on human rights stuff with China. It's not a Republican or Democratic issue, but you going an attitude adjustment like you have to be lined up with the left. You know what? One of your great
Sometimes you need to be brought into
Christopher
line.
Hitchens,
Yes.
God rest his soul, not that I'm sure if I believe in God, but Christopher Hitchens, when he said he supported the Iraq War, the left isolated and they fired him from the nation. It's like he wasn't allowed to have an independent opinion. No, you have to have an independent opinion. No, leftists have to start being open to views of the right, and rightists have to be open to views of the left, as long as what they're doing is sound.
Okay, one second. Tommy, are you saying that your friends actually made you change your mind, and when you're trying to make a stand on this issue, you're afraid that whether you agree or not with your community?
Listen, I needed to be brought back in line with this BS that I came on. Well, I stray more towards the middle.
Anyways.
Well, I was brought back into line, and that's where I need to be right now.
You know where you need to be, Tommy, to be honest with you? There's a time when people become adults that don't need to bring rabbits onto their show. So
that's really racist of you.
My advice to you would be to grow up.
You know what? You need to stop with
What's with the rabbit, to be honest with you? Grow up.
Why do you have a problem with Mr. Snugglebug?
Adolescence.
He's here for my support.
You know what? Vladimir Bukovsky and Armando Valadares and people like Nonie stood up against their oppressors. They didn't need a bunny rabbit to do it. Last minute of this program. Yeah, I hear you. Last minute of this program. How's this going to play out, this whole Chen Guangcheng incident, do you think, Rob?
How it's going to play out. I mean,
Rob's talking.
We're never going to know what really happened for sure. What we do know is this guy and his family's in trouble, and he is a human rights activist, and he is a touchstone now. I think he's going to be a touchstone that forces us as a country, and I'd like to see both the left and the right. I'd like to see Obama, not saying he will, or Mitt Romney stand up to this in a real way and actually say we're not any longer going. I'd love for Hillary Clinton to say this doesn't come off the table.
Okay, thank you. Nonie, quickly.
I feel that America has been weakened internationally immensely. A lot of countries now wanna.
I don't even think they're afraid of America anymore.
No, we're not. We're not exhibiting our power, even if we have the power. And we are compromising, and I think the Obama administration doesn't want America to be a superpower anymore. I don't think he's doing policies to keep us as a superpower. He doesn't want us to be doing space. NASA, he closed NASA up, and I think we're sending a message to the world telling them, I'm sorry. So how are we going to defend the weak in
Thank
the
you.
world? How?
And to end the segment, Peter Pan, go ahead.
Listen, Excuse me. Europe is committing cultural suicide, okay? The United States, the West, everybody's committing cultural suicide. We loathe ourselves. We hate ourselves. We are crumbling from within. China, you may hate them. You may disagree with them. I disagree with them on human rights, but they are strong. They are 5,000-year-old culture, older. They are proud. They are proud to be Chinese, and they are going to dominate the world. Whether you like it or I like it or hate it,
Thank you.
They're going to dominate the world. I don't agree with their violations of human rights, but just accept it. China has all the money, they have all the technology, they have all the brains, they're going to dominate the world.
Thank you. And what I would say is why I love this country and why my parents ended up in North America and in the United States for a while and why I'm down here is the individual matters, and we should fight to the death.
Then why are we committing cultural suicide?
Excuse me. We should fight to the death for one individual, and right now that's Chen Guangcheng. Join us tomorrow evening for the next segment of the Glazov Gang.